back to day 4 of Virtual Learning Academy. I'm here. We're going to be talking about Digital Media 2. Today is going to be a quick one. Everyone's busy with different assignments and moving right along with different projects. So instead of adding more to that, we're just going to jump into some of the details. I'm going to answer a few of the questions for different classes and just kind of breeze along, and then just make sure that you're updated on Schoology with what's posted there. And my apologies for Schoology yesterday. It was kind of like a yo-yo. It was up and down. It was working, not working, working, not working, and getting things uploaded there were was a little bit difficult. And I'm sure you experienced some of the same things with other classes that you have. So without further ado, let's take a look at Digital Media 2. We're going to jump right in there. And the part that I want to look at today with Digital Media 2 is we're in Unity, and we started building our level yesterday, our very first level. And this time it was our very first custom level. So instead of just using prefabs, we were jumping in and we were actually using sprites that we could get from anywhere. Now that created a whole plethora of questions that people had, and that's what I'm going to address today. So the first question, let's jump to that. Okay. The first question that I had is that we have a variety of things that are in our scene now, and we have to keep very good track of where they are sorted to. Now, by sorting, I mean things are either forward in Z space or they're backwards in Z space. And that means it's either in your foreground or it's in your background. And a lot of people are getting confused with that. For instance, when I hop into the scene, just to give you an example here, the robot boy is on one layer. Okay, he's sorted as number 1. Okay, now when he goes behind this bush, that bush is actually sorted on a layer that's a bigger positive number than him, which means it's further forward in the foreground. Okay, so it's in front of him. Now, on the other hand, we've got the mushroom here. Okay, and the mushroom is behind him. Okay, which means that it is less than the value 1. And it could be 0, it could be a negative number, it could be all of that stuff. And the big question that a lot of people had is, oh, I was putting in my background and it was covering up a lot of stuff. So now as you begin to create different objects here, you have to make sure that you know exactly what layer they're on, what they're sorted to. So just a quick example, I'm going to throw in a background here. I'm going to go to my new sprites. Okay, so here's some of the sprites that I downloaded yesterday. Right here, new tile set, and background, objects, tiles, all of that different stuff is in there. Again, that was gameart2d.com. Hop on there, take a look at some of the stuff. And as I'll show you in a little bit, you can also grab sprites from other areas as long as they're quality sprites. So here we go, and we're going to go to the background folder. And in that background folder, I'm just going to take the background and drag it in here. Okay, so that we've got that. Okay, now this background is set to be duplicated over and over and over in the background so that it covers all of the space. So I may take it and I may move it up a little bit more like this. And then I'll take it and I'm going to duplicate it. And let's scroll out so we can see what's going on. And I'm going to just scroll it sideways so that it connects up with the other one like that. Okay, so now we've got the background in here. You can see that the background is truly in the background. It's not covering up any of my stuff here. And in the scene, it looks like that right now. Okay, and however, when I look over in the game view here, you can see some of my layers are missing. And this is the problem that a lot of people were having here. They were thrown in a background, and then all of a sudden they were losing all of their platforms, the bushes, the different objects they had put in. So just like before, I have to make sure that I am actually sorting this here. And I did that all in play mode. That's not a good way to do that. So I'm going to just drag that in again really quick, and Command D, and then drag that over. Let's do that one more time. Command D, and now drag it over, and there we go. That's roughly it. Now, on both of these background pieces that are in here, I'm going to go over to the inspector, and right away I'm going to look at the order and layer, and you can see that it's 0. Okay, I'm going to set that to -10 so that it's all the way in the background here. I'm going to do the same for the other one. You can shift click on both of these and make adjustments on both of them at the same time. That doesn't matter. It may just speed up everything that you've got. So now when I hop in here, you can see I actually have the background showing up in the background. And it's sorted all the way back there. Now here's another problem that a lot of people are running into. They're starting to get bigger and bigger levels. And some of you posted a level yesterday to fulfill the homework needs of, hey, I put in some custom sprites and I did the bare minimum. They had like a crate, they had a platform, they screen recorded, and yes, they had dragged in sprites. But our goal here is to start creating a level. And if you think about the nature of a platformer, the nature is to get from point A to point B. Okay, so like, how do I get from this spot all the way to this spot? And there's different obstacles, whether it's just purely jumping, whether I have to collect things, which maybe I have to open up doors, get keys, different things like that. All depends on what genre of game you're in for the platformer. But one thing is always the same: point A to point B. And in some cases, some of you did the bare minimum of dropping in those sprites and that, showing that you knew how to do that. But now you want to take the time, which is why I'm not adding on a lot to this video today, take the time to build out your level. Actually go in there, add in all the platforms, test it all out to make sure that it works, and have a flow, a directional flow of where this thing is going from start to finish here. Okay? And with that, as you grow this level, this is the problem that you're going to encounter. When I jump up, you can see that my camera is following me like it's supposed to, but the camera is going right off of the screen. So I can see my background area, which doesn't look very good whatsoever. Now I can do all of my levels still, but it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look like a level should. So the big thing that I really want to put in here at this point is check the description below. In the description, there's a link. That link will take you to a tutorial that'll take you to a better camera follow setup. Right now, the camera follow setup that we're using is the multi-purpose camera rig, and it's a very generic camera. It's not great, and it'll follow you anywhere, and it's not confined to an area. The tutorial that's posted will show you how to do all that. You can hop on there and get access to that. You're going to be working with an asset that's called Cinemachine, and it's right in Unity. You can download it as a package in Unity and add that in. And that's what I would like for you to do today is build out your level. Get all of your stuff in there. Now, one last thing here before I cut Digital Media 2 loose. You can grab resources from other places. So if I hop over now at this point and we take a look at just doing a quick Google search here, I'm going to type in backgrounds. This helps if I spell right. Backgrounds plus Unity 2D. Okay, and I'm going to go to the images, and right away I'm going to get a whole bunch of different kinds of images: vector images, sprite images, pixel images, you name it. There's going to be a bunch of stuff in here. And the big thing is to find one that I like. Okay, and when I find that one, go ahead and download it. So I'm just going to take this and save the image as, and make sure that it is actually a JPEG image. Some of these are going to be copyrighted, and that'll give you that web page link down here, which is really annoying. That's the new Google thing. So I'm just going to call this BG Blue, okay, so I can keep track of it, and putting it right to my desktop, and I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to hop back over here so I can see my whole desktop. And I'm going to grab that BG Blue and I'm going to drag it right into my asset folder with my other background. So I'm going to bring that in here. Now I'm going to do a couple things to make sure that this looks right in Unity. I'm going to select that background. It is I'm going to look at the inspector now once it's selected. It is, first off, a texture type that is a sprite 2D and UI. You want to make sure that it's on that setting. And you want to make sure that if you have one background that's all by itself, that it's on the single setting as well. Okay, so I've got that all set up here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take that, and we'll hop out of play mode here. And I'm going to take that background, and same exact thing here. I'm going to drag it in. You can see that this one is quite a bit bigger. One other thing that I was going to show you, which is really handy for like troubleshooting different things. I've got these other backgrounds that are in here now, and I don't need to see them right now. And you can also use this to like troubleshoot problems if something's covering up something else. I'm going to select both of these backgrounds like so, and then I'm going to go over to the inspector. And right at the very top of the inspector, you'll see that there's this checkbox here. This is like the eyeball in your Photoshop layers. So I'm going to just disable those layers right now so that I don't see them. And when I go back, you can see they are still in my hierarchy, but not showing up in my scene. So that's another way that I can kind of like organize things, move things around, get rid of things, try different stuff out, and see how that works. Oh, this might work a lot better actually for background. I might actually put a collider right on the bottom of that, but again, you can see that this is covering up some of my different sprites that are in here. So same thing, I'm going to come over to that sorting layer, and I'm going to take it, and right away I'm going to put it to -10, so it's all the way in the background. And once I do that, you can see everything is exposed again. And now I can hop right into gameplay. And I just brought in a sprite from a completely different area here. Now, last thing that I'm going to show you, which is worthwhile here. Some of you are going to be very drawn to pixel art, which is fine. I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to look for one that, let's just go to pixel art background. And then I'll always add on the Unity 2D part because that'll narrow it down quite a bit. Get into my images here. And now we're starting to get into some of the pixel stuff here. And I'm going to grab this one. Same thing, I'm just going to go ahead and save the image. And I'm not saving it any differently. I'm just calling it background, and this time I'm going to call it pixel. And I'm saving it to my desktop. And then minimizing here. And then I'm going to take that and drag it into my assets here. And once that's in here, I'm going to select it, and this is where things are going to get a little bit different. This is pixel art, and by default, if I just drag that in here and move that over so that we can see it in gameplay here, and there it is, so you can see it. You can see that it's not just pixely, it's really, really choppy. It doesn't look good at all. It's yeah, it's not good. So, and that's part of how the settings are right now in that picture. So I'm going to select that asset, click on it like that, and then I'm going to go up to the same exact area that we looked at for the other picture. And we're keeping this all the same. It's a sprite, it's single, all of that good stuff. This time though, we're going to come down here and we're going to go to point, no filter. Okay, and what that's going to do is it's going to change the quality of that pixel art here, and it's going to improve it so that it actually renders the right way when I get into game mode. So just like before, I'm going to go ahead and disable my background here, and let's see here. Oh, one other thing. When you make changes to sprites, you have to remember to apply those changes. So if I go to my pixel art and I make a change here to whatever, at the very bottom of all this, I have to click apply. Okay, and that'll apply those changes. All right, so back to it here. We're going to take Big Blue, and we're going to disable that. And now we're going to take this one. You can resize these things. You might want to be careful of how you do that, though, because they will very quickly get distorted and stretched. So, just as a word to the wise here about that, if you see a lot of quality drop out of your images, that could be why. And then again, I'm going to sort this to the back, -10. Okay, and everything is all set at this point. I'll hop back into the game. And now I've got an older school, more traditional pixel-y kind of 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit kind of feeling. Okay, excellent. Well, that is going to wrap up Digital Media 2. Make sure that you are, in fact, going to the link in the description and then using that camera follow and following that tutorial to set it up so that you can build your level a little bit bigger. Point A to point B. Okay, and make sure that you're doing that. Take some time there. Okay, I'm going to hop out of here. That's it for Digital Media 2. We're going to hop over to web design. And from there, okay, web design it is. Okay, very quickly with web design, just sending this over. This is an example of what I'm looking for here. Let me put this on here and send that on over. Okay, this is an example in web design of a really good splash page here. It's well done. So this is an example of the mock-up from one of the students that's already submitted this. And he did a great job of getting colors, getting all the graphics, filling in all the blanks, and basically creating the new vision for Red Hawk Media, which is kind of the idea of what you want to do with your mock-up. You want to put it together and you want to start steering the project in a certain direction. So when you have your conversation with your client, you can talk specifics. So now when I meet with this student, which I have scheduled meetings today with 3 people, I have scheduled meetings tomorrow with 2 more people. If you haven't scheduled that yet, send me the email. Make sure in the email that you schedule a specific time, and then we will sit down in a Google Hangout and we'll actually go through the details of that. And you can show me the actual mock-up page like this one here, which again, this is very well done. It's very specific. Here is the landing page. So here's like our splash page. The idea is this is the first thing that the user would see. And then we have the landing page here. Let me send that over. Okay, now we get into the actual full-on website here. And this has got all the different decisions that the end user can make and click on and decide, where they want to go, what they want to navigate to. So 2 different areas there, one that kind of directs traffic in one way or another, that's your splash page, and then the actual landing page is the one that has all the content. So this is very well done. I wanted to show this. I saw some of the other mock-ups and they looked more like wireframes. They were very devoid of any detail. The colors weren't there. A lot of the content wasn't kind of filled in. And I know that you don't have a whole lot of like images to work with, but put in generic placeholder images. Like this camera, we don't use this camera. Like we don't own any of these cameras whatsoever, but it gives me a great idea of what it could look like if we put our camera in there. And you can tell this is a Photoshop document. It's all ready to go. Easy to switch out that camera and drop something else in there. This is good work. So I just wanted to show this as an example of a really good mock-up. So when you have your meeting with me, this is kind of like what we should be talking about. This is the product that I'm looking for. This is exactly what we want to have a conversation around. Now, is this the end all for design? No, there's a lot of things on here that I would do differently, but it's going to open up a great conversation starter, and it creatively starts pushing us in a direction so that we know what we're talking about. Okay, so for web design, big thing is email me formally. Don't forget that etiquette. Okay, greeting, salutation, closing. Don't forget your little logo for your company name, all that stuff. And then after you do that, go ahead and schedule a time to meet with me. Okay, and that's got to happen here in the next 2 days, so make sure that you get that taken care of. All right, excellent, good. That's it for web design. We're moving on, like I said, keeping it short today. And that takes us to game design. Okay, and let me clear all this here and put that on there and send this on over. Boom. All right. Now, for game design, what I'm going to do is direct you to a whole bunch of resources here. So I took some time because a lot of people were asking questions about this. Let's go to Schoology really quick. And if you're following along here, let's put this up to full screen. We're going to just head over to my game design class and kind of take a quick look there. Sorry, coffee break. All right, to our whopping 6 viewers here. I know most of you are watching this later. That's fine. It's great. If you are watching, feel free to check in, post questions, comments, all that good stuff. All right, so you can see I've been posting the videos. This is the same on every course. The videos have been posted here, so if you access them in the playlist on YouTube, Red Hawk Media channel, or if you access them here, either way, you're getting the daily information that you need. Okay, just to throw that out there. Now, I did put together this whole 2D level design folder. Inside of there was one of our assignments for restarts, checkpoints, and using a game master. And then we had all the scripts that were supplied in there. And then we can see that we have this assignment that's created right here. I'm sorry, I'm zooming in. We've got the game walkthrough. So at this point, I just need to see what you've got for your game. do a walkthrough, like a thorough walkthrough from start to finish of everything that you've created for your game so far. If that's multiple levels, do the walkthrough showing multiple levels going into the different areas. So like Grady comes to mind. He's doing a top-down RPG. He's got a couple different screens that it bounces back and forth. Those are different scenes that are loading up with different spawn points. And then he's got a whole kind of map layout. Okay, walk me through all that. I want to see the gameplay. I want to see what's going on and all that. Which takes me to the folder that I've been getting the most questions about. That would be the idea of we want some kind of incentivization in our game. Incentivization, that's a crazy word. All right, collectibles and inventory tutorials here. So if we hop in here, this is an actual assignment that I posted on here because aside from doing the walkthrough, I want you to make sure that you add this feature in here. We talked about this over and over about in order for your game to be a game, there's obviously got to be a winning condition. But one of the things on your way to that winning condition that you really need is you need some kind of incentive for the person that's playing. Okay, so whether it's coins, whether it's a score, whether it's an inventory that they build up, whether it's leveling up, whatever that may be, they need something to be in that gameplay there. And do the work now on the 2D game for all of this, because when we switch over to the 3D game, a lot of this stuff is going to make that changeover here, and you're going to understand how it works. So if we take a look at this assignment in here, you can see you're to incorporate collectibles, inventory, and all that. You guys can read. And then I put in a whole bunch of links to different tutorials that do a great job of laying this out. And they do it in a way that's very generic, so that you can apply it to any kind of game that you're building. Some of them, they get really, they're part of a tutorial series. And then in that series, it's like you have to do it exactly the way they're doing it with their characters and all that stuff. These are very generic ones that you can plug into any kind of game setup, and they work really well. Collectible one is coins, and then the inventory one is by Blackthorn Prod. He does a great job. Very unique tutorials. You'll love the way that he talks. His intro is the best. Welcome back to Blackthorn Prod. You'll get the idea when you click on it. But anyway, check those out. Inventory has got two parts to it, a part one and a part two. You've got kind of the graphic part of it and the coding that goes along with that. And then decide what it is that you want to interact with. So like, somebody like Grady that might be collecting things in his top-down RPG, or let's see here, who else has, there's a bunch of you that have different things like that. Any one of these things will apply to you, whether you're collecting coins, checkpoints, whatever it may be. These can all be applied to that. Okay, excellent. That covers game design. I'm going to hop out of here, and we're going to head back. Give me 1 second here. And that takes us to now video production. Okay, and with video production, sending that, actually, I'm going to change this up here as well so that I'm on the other side, because I noticed yesterday that I was kind of blocking a lot of the stuff that was in Adobe Premiere. My bad. We want to make sure that we have all of that stuff. Let me turn that volume back up on this layer and then send it. And now we should be a little bit louder there. Okay, so here's what we want. We're in Adobe Premiere. Most of you now have been to self-service. You've been able to get rid of your old CS5, CS6, whichever one. There's uninstallers that are in self-service now. And then on top of that, there's the new Adobe CC download. So that gives you Photoshop, After Effects, and Premiere. All three of those. And you don't want to stack all three of those on top of all of the other stuff that you've already got on your laptop. So get rid of CS6, get rid of CS5.5, get rid of those things off of there because they're tying up a lot of space. Again, the installers are on self-service. Take a look at that on your own time. If you have any problems, let me know. Our IT department has been phenomenal throughout this whole thing. They have literally gone on and done team viewer sessions where they go in and they screen share with you at your house and they walk you through how to set stuff up. So if you need any help, just reach out to me, drop me an email, let me know. All right, so let's take a look at this. We're in Adobe Premiere. Okay, you can see I've been playing around with this a little bit more with this project. And let's put this up to full screen here. and getting to a few of the details here that you're going to be interested in for your project. Here's my son. We're goofing around here on our own little short film. And yeah, so yesterday we've talked about dragging files into your project bin down here. And the nice thing is you can organize it by folders in here, or you can just take folders and drag them right in there. Okay, so with the project bin, you got all your stuff. This is like where you import all of your media to. Now, one other thing that's in here that we're not used to because, well, we usually see it in a different kind of tab in Final Cut Pro, is that we can create different things that we're going to use in here. For example, I'm going to just slide this over so we can see everything that's going on in here, because obviously there's a lot of stuff here. You would not need to see all of it, but it is pretty handy. And then I'm going to drag this back over here because there we go. So we can see both. Now, at the bottom of your project bin, that's what we're going to look at. And specifically what we're looking at is we've got basically like a new layer button, same thing that you'd see in Photoshop. You can go in here, and as soon as you click on that, it's asking you what you want to create that's new. Okay, so let's say you want to just put in a custom background, like just black video, black screen. We hop in here, we can go black video. It's going to ask me for a few dimensions, like, hey, do I want this to be 1920 by 1080? That's my project size, so I go ahead and click OK. Now, in my project bin, you will notice that now I have black video as one of the assets that's in here. So I can take that and I can drag that right out here into my timeline now, and I can do that. Now I'm trying to remember this quick key here. I know there's one of them here. I can grab a clip, and it's either Command, Shift, Option. Let's see where that goes here. I'm trying to remember. There it is. Okay, so if I hold Command, sorry, quick keys, I'm learning them too on the fly. They're good to know. We're used to be able to drag things in between, so I can just grab this and just kind of plug it right in here. But you'll notice if I do that, see what it did to my video? It just overwrote the first part of that clip there. Okay, if I want to take anything and insert it in between two clips to kind of push them apart here, I'm going to click on it and start dragging it, hold Command. You can see all the little arrows pop up there. And then I'm going to line it up at the start of the video, drop that in there, and you can see it pushes everything over. So now I have my very own custom black background that's in there. Hey, awesome, great. So that looks good. Now, another thing that we can create here as we get a little bit further along is you may have the need to like adjust different things. In Final Cut Pro, some of you have played around with the idea of adjustment layers. In Photoshop, everybody has used adjustment layers, so it shouldn't be a totally foreign concept. For instance, if I hop to the later part, or the latter part of my timeline here, and I zoom in, you can see video layer, audio layer, adjustment layers. Okay, and what I was doing was I was playing around with some adjustments for color correction, color grading, some basic stuff like that. And when I mouse over this, you can see there it is with it adjusted, and there it is with it unadjusted. So this is right out of camera. That's what it looks like. And then I put that adjustment on there. I'm playing around with getting that more filmic look here. And then I was playing around with another look altogether. I think this one is different here. Yeah, we're like a blue night. I don't like that one as much. So just get rid of that. But you can stack up these adjustment layers, and you can do a lot of different things in here. One of the things that you might be interested in, oh, by the way, before I get too far here, the way that you create the adjustment layer, exactly the same way as we just created the black screen here. So if we go down again into the corner, sorry, my notes are getting in the way here. If I go down and I go to New Item, I can hop in there, and right away I can go to Adjustment Layer, click on that. It's going to ask me same exact questions. Is this the size that I want? Okay. And now it's got that as one of my assets that's over here. I can take that and drag that out here. And now I've got a completely empty adjustment layer. And now I can start dragging effects onto this. So if I want to add on, for instance, like the Lumetri color here, I can add that on. So over on the right-hand side, you've got a whole area for effects that you can work with. So if I go to Effects, okay, I select this. There's nothing that's on there. Now I can go up to my right-hand corner up here, and one of the things that is very handy in the new setup here is Lumetri. Okay, And Lumetri gives me all kinds of different stuff that I can work with here. And I can even target certain cameras. Okay, so you can see that I was playing around with the idea of Canon cameras here and all of that stuff. You can get different looks. You can drag that on there. The nice thing is once I get this on here, I can take like a basic one. I was using the Rebel cameras. It's similar to, yeah, we got Nikon's Reds. These are universal ones that'll fit on anything. All of that stuff. Color correction. Here we go. Down at the very bottom here, we've got the Lumetri color. Okay, so now I can drag that effect just like After Effects. I can take that, drag that out here, drop it on my layer. Boom, it's on there. Over in my effects controls, I make sure that I have effects selected here. I can see the effects over here and work with those. So, and I can go to my Lumetri scopes as well, and I can look at the scope while I adjust this. And then one other thing that I can do, and I'm sorry I'm like going from one thing to another pretty quickly here, I can go to the color tab up on top, and the color tab brings up all the different settings of all the things that I can do to that Lumetri color effect that's on that adjustment layer. So if I want to come in here and first off give it a look, let's say, let's go with gold heat. Okay, well that's pretty intense. So maybe I take the intensity and I dial it down a little bit here. Okay, so it's not so crazy. Maybe that one is just not for me. Let's go with iron. Interesting. Okay, try all these different effects. Take a look at what they're like. Let's go black and white. Okay, it's keeping reds. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and then I can bring up the intensity again so that it's working. And then the other nice part about this is I can do a lot of other stuff. I can add vignettes on here. So if I want to take and add some vignette on, bring that in, I can do that. I can do color matching so that I can make sure that everything is all set up there. I can go into basic corrections, which I can change the temperature, the exposure. Like this is a little overexposed. I might bring this down. Might change up my contrast a little bit so it's not so, so the blacks aren't so blown out there. Take the highlights down because it's pretty bright. Okay, shadows, play around with those, and basically get it all dialed into exactly what I want. Bring the whites down there, and let's play around with that a little bit. And there we go. Now we've got to look pretty quickly here. So that's just an adjustment layer. So we covered black screen, an adjustment layer, threw on a color effect. You can throw on lots of different effects on here. You can throw the effects right on your clips as well. All of those things work. Okay, so now other things that you might want to add on here. We can add on text and titles. So I can go in here and let's see here, captions, HD bars, offline, adjustment layer. They may have added that right in here. And now I can edit right up in here with my actual typing with title. Okay, and then I can go ahead and highlight that. And let's see here. How do I get to the settings for that is the good question. I can go into the title effects area here. And then you can see I've got all my different fonts. So I can choose different font here. I can use different fill colors. Okay, and then I can start adding on a shadow. Okay, so I got a little bit of a shadow there. I'm going to, you can set the distance, you can create the angle of it, rotate that around to whatever you want. A lot of different features that are in here. I can make this italicized. All the different font things are in here. So that's my title really quickly. And then I can take that and hopefully, let's see here, I've got the title tool going to town here. Command Z. Let's switch back over to my pointer tool. And then now with the pointer tool, I can move that around. I can resize it. And I might be able to, that's where it shows up in there. Okay. I was going to see if I could rotate it. Oh, I can rotate it too. So if I want to put that in here as kind of a cheeky little thing there, I've got that. Excellent. So those are some more of the basics. last one that I'm going to cover, which will be very handy for you. There are going to be places in your cooking video where you want to keep sound and get rid of sound. It may be that you have narration in your cooking video and you want to take that up or take that down. So we know that we've got the audio layer down here, and right now I've got it muted, so when I scrub through it, we're not hearing any of that. Okay, but with that audio layer selected, I can go up to my effect controls, and in the volume area that's all the way up here, okay, I can drop this down, and you can see that I've got my levels, and then over here you can see that I've got keyframes. Okay, and one of the things that might be handy is I go ahead and I place this to wherever I might be making some changes, and I hit the keyframe button, and maybe I've got a couple different places, keyframe, okay, and keyframe. And now the nice part about that is, just like in Final Cut or in GarageBand or any other software that you've ever edited in for audio, with those keyframes, I can now hop in here and I can create some fade ins, fade outs, ducking in, ducking out, all that stuff, and basically set that all up. Okay, so now I can adjust my audio as well. Okay, now one other thing that keyframes may work well for is, as you know, we may be scaling this, and of course we may be scaling our video, so I want to make sure I get my video selected here. Video, there we go. And I can hit the stopwatch on this as well and say, okay, we're at 100% here, and then as we go, I may want that slowly to fade in here, to right about here, and let's say that it just does like a very minimal amount of fade. Okay, so now fading from one keyframe to the other one, it's fading in that whole time I created that fade. And up here you can see the two keyframes. I can take these, drag them around to retime them with other events that may be going on. Yeah, and that's some more basics here in Adobe Premiere. It should give you a lot to work with your cooking videos. And make sure that you hop on to Schoology as well. Take a look at the requirements for those cooking videos so you've got that all put together. Excellent. This is supposed to be short, but this turning out to be a little bit longer. My apologies. Okay, excellent. All right, so video production, we're all done. Take a look at Schoology, and let's move on. Okay, so we're taking a look now at digital media, and I think it's a great time to do a little bit of shout out here. Okay, as we know, we had to create Photoshop tutorials, and those tutorials were to teach a new skill that you went out, discovered, learned, and mastered, and then you created the tutorial yourself on how to do that. Some quick mentions. These are the 3 that are now uploaded to Schoology. The first one is Alex's here, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this over here and send this in. You're going to hear Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I will be teaching you how to do the glitch
and he sets up this whole
Photoshop.
tutorial.
The first thing you want to do is use Command J to make another layer of your image that you've imported in. Then you go to Image, Adjustments tab, and turn it to black and white. Now you make a...
And he does a very nice job of going through all the details there. The glitch effect is one of the tutorials that you can choose from. Here's another one. JJ hopped on, did this frost effect that he's adding on to single-handed dunks, one-handed dunks. And this frost effect, let me send this on over. I may have to scale this up a little bit, sorry. There we go. And send it.
Alright, hello guys. Today we're going to be doing a tutorial on the frost effect in Photoshop. So, one way I like to utilize it is putting it on side of basketball players' dunking arms. It looks like a cool little effect. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go to Chrome, and we're going to have to find a good picture. For the sake of time, I'll do a one-arm dunk. Who's a famous dunker right now? We'll go Derek Jones Jr. We'll go to Images, and we'll find a good picture. So we're going to try to find a picture that is a pretty good picture of him. Curves adjustment layer.
Here's a little bit later in the tutorial.
And a common thing I like to do is I like to turn the shadows off a little bit. Kind of looks like one of those retro basketball cards, like a hardware card.
Okay,
turn this
we're
like
gonna go
this,
ahead
and
clear
maybe
that out.
bring then
Boom.
some of the.
Okay, and then the final one here is this idea of a 3D photo. And excuse me as I get that all set up here. And let's get that scaled up and send that on over. And in this one, we're gonna hear Gwen talk about 3D photo and how to mask that and do all the stuff with that. So let's send it.
I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a 3D pop-out effect on Photoshop. So what we want to do is we want to use these two
And we're going to skip to a little
layers
bit
where you
further
get a
on
picture
into the
frame,
video
then
here.
click Shift, and then
Okay,
click on the layer
this is
right
more
below
like
it.
your finished
And
product
while
and what
you're
you're going to see. Very
holding
cool
Shift,
effect.
click on the link
Awesome.
right here, so that now whenever you try to
And we're going to clear
move
that.
this,
Okay, excellent. I'm not adding on anything new. I just wanted to give a little bit of shout out to those three. They did a great job of all that stuff. This is going to be basically the end of everything here for today. Hop on to Schoology, any of the classes. Make sure that you hop on there. Make sure that you're looking at what you need to do and you're keeping up with that. And again, shoot me questions. Shoot me questions. Okay, so if you have anything that's going on, I'm pretty Johnny on the spot with getting back to you with responses. So make sure that that you ask those questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining us again for another day of our Virtual Learning Academy. We'll see ya. Bye.